And welcome and good evening, everybody, to the Whole Agenda Radio Show, broadcasting to you live right here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Of course, I'm your host, Robert Peppino, and it's always a pleasure to be here with you. And I want to thank each and every one of you, for being here and being a participant of this broadcast on this network. And believe me, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. So thank you all from wherever you may be listening from and all contributors to this network. I appreciate you and I want to thank you. And of course, before we get into tonight's show, I always want to say at the beginning of the show that Revolution Radio is expanding. We're growing larger and larger, leaps and bounds, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? Give yourselves a round of applause because you're the ones who have made this happen, not us. We're here to help contribute, but you're the ones out there really making a difference and making this station thrive and grow by your contributions to the network. So if you can, please, times are tough. You hear me say it all the time, but, we need to continue to grow this network. So if you can, please, go to the support link on freedomslips.com. And, if you can, 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks would be a tremendous help to the network, because, the expenses get larger as the network grows. And you all know that none of us are getting paid to do this. We're all doing this of our own free will because it's important, and we feel that information is truth, and that's why we're all here. And especially me, I'm not selling anything, that. But to make this network grow, it takes money. There's the expense of the T3 line, which is very expensive, and you guys have made, first month wasn't a problem, last month wasn't a problem. And I think we're almost there right now for this month, but please, continue to contribute and help the network so we can grow, because we're all a family together, and we're just trying to get this family larger and larger and larger. There's some great deals out there on freedomslips.com as well. There's the 35,000 non-GMO seed pack for $100, or the USB survival guide drive for $50. Great deals. I haven't seen anything like that anywhere on the internet. So again, thank you, and contribute whenever you can. Now, of course, it is the third Friday of the month, and Alma Roehling is with us, usually for the full 2 hours. But I'll tell you what, we got a special guest sitting in for her for the first hour, because Alma had to take a little greater preparation for tonight's show, because she's going directly into a channeling this evening. So she won't be with us the first hour. But we have a great guest for the first hour. His name is Robert Bingham, the man who calls to the UFOs. He says a little prayer to them, and lo and behold, they appear right in front of him, and it's amazing. I've seen the videos. It's still astounding to me. And obviously, Robert, you are extremely connected with our brothers and sisters up there, probably a little bit more than I am. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bob. I'm glad to be on the show.
Well, it's my pleasure. Robert, I remember seeing videos, and this is going back years ago, and they were pretty obscure, but videos of you that had been put on the internet, being able to call to our ET brothers and sisters, and they would simply appear, above, your head. And I mean, that was astounding. It still is astounding, by the way. How did this all start for you?
Well, I found out that I had this ability, and because I think I explained it. One time going further back, when I was 17, I've always been an aviation buff, and when I hear a Piper Cherokee, a single-engine plane, or any type of plane, I always look in the sky. So this particular day when I was 17, and it was in the afternoon, I heard a small plane. So I looked up, and in the same area, but much higher, I assumed it was about 100,000 feet. It was a cigar-shaped object, and it was amber in color. and it looked like a cigar. And judging by the height, I realized it was a big ship. And so at that moment, I just stood there and looked at it and realized that UFOs were real.
Well, Robert, before you go any further, now you're seeing this amber type, cylinder type craft. Obviously, you said about 100,000 feet or so?
Yes, well, at 17, I assumed it was about
Okay.
100,000
And that's, of course, and that's really hard to judge. And so I sympathize. But when that took place, now, did you experience anything of like missing time when that happened?
No, I don't recall anything like that.
Okay. All right.
After that, I think I had mentioned, I mentioned it at other places, but I had a death experience, and I died, and I felt like I was pulled up onto a UFO ship. Well,
Okay.
first of all,
Exactly. You just
well,
you just laid it out. I mean, you had a near-death experience. What happened?
well, I had a death. I died, and I saw my body just like the movies from the ceiling, from above, and I saw my body, and I realized I was dead. But at the moment that the realization that I was out of my body, and I had passed away, I was transported like in a nanosecond into a different place, which I assumed was a UFO. And I was speaking to a gentleman who I assumed was Jesus, and he was in a white gown of some sort, and he was taller than I am, and I'm 6 feet. And I kept telling him, I want to go back. I want to go back. This is a mistake. I want to go back. And he told me to relax, and he told me, why do I want to go back? Because I was going to have to experience the pain of death again if I did go back. I said, I don't care. I want to go back. And he said, why else do you want to go back? And I told him I didn't want my mom to know that I passed away.
Well,
Robert.
Robert. Oh, I was going to say, what? Okay, so when this transition took place, what did the being look like?
I couldn't tell you what he looked like. All I know is that he was tall, he was kind, he was peaceful, and he was, I just could say peaceful. I couldn't tell you what he looked like, though. I don't remember that.
But was it a very, obviously it must have been a very soothing, calming voice that spoke to you?
Yes. He and like I said, I told him that I didn't want my mom to know that I passed away.
And this was a telepathic communication, or were you verbally speaking to each other?
Well, that's hard to say because I was right there in a different whole world, spiritual world, and I was talking. So it was different. I was talking spiritual world where I was at, which I assumed was a UFO. And my belief is that the UFOs, which are, to me, angels, that they come and they, I might get the religious people out of it, but I always say that they retrieve souls that are people that are passing away, and they also dispense souls around the globe. And they monitor everything. And so I had a discussion with him, and I can't tell you the exact dialogue, but anyway, when I woke up in the hospital, I wanted to tell so many people about that experience about the UFO, but this is back in the 70s, and I didn't want them to think I was crazy. And so I didn't know what went on. I just kept it to myself. Told a couple of my close friends who really thought that was wild. And so that was another experience. And I assumed I had told him that I was going to do something for him when I came back. Anyway, so after that, like a time capsule, I had mentioned to a friend of mine that tonight was a good night to see aliens. And I was checking, and a friend of mine was the manager at a old Victorian home that had a lot of rooms that they were renting, and I was renting one. and I wanted to move into a bigger room. So it was real windy. It was like evening time, and I said, tonight, he told me, hey, this is kind of a spooky night. And I said, well, tonight, or the night is an alien. And as a matter of fact, when I came back to look at the room, he was out on the balcony on the second floor, which the room had a balcony, and he said, Robert, there's a alien coming down the street, which I think, because he didn't speak English well, he meant to say there's a UFO flying ship coming down the street.
Right, right.
Anyway, so when I went out on the balcony, because I realized he wasn't pulling my leg and he was telling the truth, I went out there, and sure enough, coming down this big street, about level to my eye on the second floor, was a craft of some sort that had facets on it like a diamond, but it was black, and it was moving and morphing like almost like a bag, kind of coming down the street. And it was coming. The odd part was, it was coming down the street at a perfect speed, not deviating at all.
Now, Robert, when you're saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. When you're saying it was coming down the street, like at street level, it was coming down the street, or was it?
No, it was it was about the second floor, so it was about 20 feet high, 25 feet high.
Okay, okay.
I was coming down the street, down the boulevard, you might say, of the street, the neighborhood. And it was, what caught my eye, though, it didn't deviate from the speed, and it was a 35-mile-an-hour wind, and nothing, physics tells you that can't happen. But this was happening in front of me. And it veered to the right and went over my head. But at a angle, it looked gray, like almost like a battleship would look. It looked gray at a certain angle. But anyway, when I realized that I had told Jaime that we were going to see an alien tonight, I realized, wow, maybe I should try that again. And like a time capsule, I tried it, and it happened again. Didn't happen all the time, but I kept practicing. And then I realized I had this gift. And then I you might say that I honed in on that skill and practiced all types of different things to see what kind of abilities I had.
Robert,
sometimes it got kind of scary.
Right.
What?
Can I ask you a question? First of all, you sound a little muffled. Are you close enough to your telephone, or is it just you're too close? I'm not quite sure. You sounding a little muffled on my end.
How's this? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's better. Just need to be just a little bit louder. And second question I wanted.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, no problem.
This better?
Yes, much better, Robert. That's perfect. The second question I had for you was this: when you died, how long were you dead for? Did the doctors tell you?
Wait for a second. You gotta turn it lower. Lower. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Did you want me to restate that question?
Yes. Can you say this for me, please?
You bet. Well, I asked you. We kind of skipped over this. How long were you pronounced dead for before you came back to life?
Oh, I have no idea. I never asked the doctor or anything. But I know they used the defibrillator on me, the paddles, and because my chest really hurt. It hurt a whole lot.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it felt like somebody jumped on my chest for a long time.
Wow. Okay, so moving forward then, after having this experience with this craft that your friend saw, you went outside, saw, and you're watching this, craft basically 2 stories up coming down the street. What happened next?
Well, it veered off to the right, and Jaime, when I brought it up to him, he really didn't want to talk about it. I don't know, there's a lot of people that don't like to talk about things like that because they feel, I guess, it's the devil or something. I don't know, or it's the wicked or something. I don't know. It depends on, some people think it's it's evil, which I think they're totally wrong because they're not open-minded, and they should look and see what it is, you know. But anyway, after that, I just started practicing, and they kept coming around. I mean, sometimes they would come without me even calling them. Today at work, I had like a lot of activity, and I took a few pictures. I do security work. I think I had mentioned I do security work for motion pictures, and we're on the streets of downtown LA, and they always come to me. And a lot of people on the sets, the different shows that I do have, they know what I do, and they are amazed at what they see. And sometimes they treat me like a star, you know, and I'm just a security guard right there. Anyway, but that's what I could say is that I just honed in on the skill and sharing it with the world. And there's much more. The truth is that we are not alone, and the angels out there are really helping the world from being destroyed, and helping us from destroying ourselves. Does that make any sense?
Well, Robert, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, and this is another question I wanted to ask you. I mean, there's so many different type of crafts and beings that are constantly in our atmosphere, and of course, our government official liars will never admit to any of this. They've known it for probably 100 years, maybe longer. But the bottom line is that there's so many different type of beings. How many different types? First of all, how many different type of crafts come to you, and how many different type of beings come to you? And then to further that question, have you ever been on board, folk?
Hello?
Yeah, Robert, can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead. Can you say that again?
Sure. Okay. So my question was, there's, the bottom line is, how many different types of crafts have you called on and have come to you? And then have you ever been on board any of their crafts?
I've never been abducted, so I don't know about the abduction thing. I would think that the evil ones, the ones that are the dark forces, do the abduction. I mostly get benevolent. I get benevolent craft, but once in a while a black one will show up, and I think he comes around just that's the dark forces. It's like pure black, and they come around to check out what's going on. But they're both up in the heavens right there. Both angels are there, the good angels and the bad angels. It all comes down to that there's good forces and bad forces. There's hot water, there's cold water. You got a right arm, a left arm. There's always an opposite to everything. And so it's to me, it's what is it that you're looking for? And if it's for evil, then you're going to find evil. If it's for good, you're going to find good, of course. I've been privileged to see maybe. I don't like answering that question. I've been privileged to see a couple of terrestrials. And let me see, I have photos of one, two, about 3 terrestrials beings. And one of them, actually, if you look at the paintings of the Egyptians inside the tombs on the walls, they have a little over-exaggerated eyes, but they're not as big as what people say the terrestrials have. They're a little exaggerated, but that's what they have, bigger eyes than us. They have longer necks and longer faces, longer ears, and they're dark. And they look like the Egyptian paintings in the tombs. And, that's one. The other one. I don't want to go into all of that, but anyway, they have a lot of stories. But I've been privileged to meet a few of them. And I've had thousands and thousands of sightings of different craft. It never ceases to amaze me the type of technology they have and how it doesn't matter about the aerodynamics of the object or anything like that, because they defy all laws of physics. What I observed is that when they travel, they clear the path of all molecules. They clear a clear path, so there's no resistance. And they can shoot right across without any resistance at all. And that's how they do that. Hello? Are you there?
Yeah, Robert, I'm sorry. I am here. I just had my mic muted, but please continue.
Well, did you catch what I said? Is that on the radio or?
No, everything was on the radio. I was.
Well, there's multiple ways that they use to. There are multiple things that they use to, you might say, travel. Some of it's star power, some of it's electrical, magnetic.
Well, so they all have a different. So they all have basically have a.
They have, just like our craft. Our jet fighters have backup systems. I think it's 4 of them on each jet fighter. Oh, well, they got probably even a lot more backup systems, especially after the United States knocked a few of them out at Roswell, and I'm sure they learned from that one.
Yeah, I'm most certain that they did, and that technology, of course, was taken by our own government, and of course they tried to back engineer it to some degree. To what success, I have no idea. You know, we've all seen the triangle crafts. Could those be the suspected TR-3Bs? Don't know, but I would assume from, my own observations and what I've read and researched that they probably back engineered that technology to a certain degree.
Yeah, I've observed some of our craft. I observed a triangular craft, which kind of stands on its behind like a pyramid, and it has a belly door that opens up. I believe that's ours because it was jet black. And sometimes they come around trying to scare me, I try not to make a nuisance by bringing the craft,
So Robert...
but there was a point where I would summon fleets, and that kind of got a little hairy, so I stopped summoning fleets. But once in a while, a fleet will show up without me, so I summon them.
Well, Robert, how does this take place? How do you call the crafts? What do you do?
Well, what I do is I have a video on my YouTube channel, which is UFO Robert Bingham. It's the summoning technique video. And what I do is I generally go in there with a clean, a clear heart, clean mind, and good intentions, and just tell them to appear. And they do appear. And it's a relationship I've developed over the years with them. And so it's a big responsibility for myself to, even though I have disability, I don't misuse it.
So would you say it's like
that's number one. And I don't think they would do anything that if I asked them that was wrong anyway.
Would you?
It's to protect the planet and to help us, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Robert, you're getting a little muffled on me, and I'm having a bit of a hard time hearing you, my friend.
Okay.
You just sound muffled.
I asked them to. I have to repeat myself. I asked them about basically just to help the planet and help the people. And when the time is right, I really want the technology certain technology to help us overcome things like cancer and stuff.
Well, let me ask you this, Robert. Do you feel like you've developed like some sort of symbiotic relationship with not just one, but multiple species?
No, no. I believe that this one, but the other ones do come around, and it's a free world out there, and they can come around. So I couldn't tell you where they're from. A lot of people can tell you in books where they're from and other things, but I can't tell you that because I don't know. I just know that when they do come around, the energy of the birds, the falcons, the seagulls, the hummingbirds, all the animals are in tune with them, and so I know they're benevolent. If there were anything bad, I'm sure that you would recognize it in our birds and our animals, that something bad's around. So,
well, let's move forward.
It's simple, It's really simple. It's just that mankind, I believe mankind makes everything so difficult.
You're right. You're right. I agree with you. And I think mankind does everything backwards. I mean, look at the structure of how our society, lives on a day-to-day basis. The most important people, the caregivers, the teachers, the ones who bring true value are the ones who are, totally disregarded and have the worst pay. And then the so-called money printers who actually do absolutely nothing except feed off the backs of us. They're like locusts or leeches. They're the ones who are in control of everything. So you're right. It's completely backwards in that sense. But going to, the planet is going through a major upheaval and dilemmas right now. And I only think it's going to get absolutely worse. But I think it's a transition period. I think it's...
Well, it has to get worse before it gets better.
Right.
My theory on that subject is that people, first of all, have to see a lot of bad, sorry to say that, in order for them to believe in God, and God does come, God and Jesus, and the miracles that He's going to perform for them. Because unfortunately, they get complacent, and the way they live, that they think it's going to always be like this, and it's not. Times are changing. Things are changing so fast and dramatically that it's not going to be like this. There has to be a change. And the way I look at it is, if you look at a novelist, it starts from the bottom with a wide base, and then it goes all the way to a pinpoint at the top. And that's where we are right now. We're at the pinpoint of that obelisk.
Yeah, we're at the pinnacle. It's the crest. Absolutely.
The pinnacle. And the pinnacle is going to go reverse to the heavens, and that's our knowledge. And that's where we're going, to the heavens. And that's where we are headed for. And we're going to be accepted into the Galactic Federation of Planets, and that's what's going to happen.
Robert, can I ask you this? When you had that near-death experience and you were speaking with this being, obviously fourth dimensional or greater, and you told him, I need to go back, and he asked you why.
Right.
Did he tell you about anything about the earth changes that you can possibly remember, that what we are experiencing right now? Did he mention any of that to you?
Well, I don't recall that. I
Okay.
just remember the dialogue, but I don't remember exactly what that dialogue was.
Have you ever thought about...
But I did make some promises, though.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
But in that dialogue, I remember making some promises.
Right.
I might call that, what do they call that? A covenant with Jesus. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I didn't catch that last phrase.
I did make a covenant.
You made a covenant. So you said, I'm coming back, and there's certain things that I'm going to do, and this is part of it.
Well, yeah, this is part of it. It was revealed to me, and this is part of it. I'm just sharing what I know, and I'm trying to wake up the world and try to get as many people around the planet to open their consciousness to the relationship with them. And you might say it's like a tuning fork. And with all these consciousnesses around the globe tuned in at the same time, it's going to change the world. And we'll be able to even, we will be able at the time, when the time is right, to stop whatever is going to happen. You know, I can't tell you what.
Well, I mean, personally, Robert, I believe that what we're going through, it has to happen. It's a natural progress. It's part of the continuously changing universe. This has to happen. And of course, it affects us greatly, but we have to go through that process in order to grow, whether we are here physically on the planet or whether, we transverse into the pure energy state as we make our next choice, being in that energy state of where we want to exist.
Right. I can give you an example. I was at work, and when I work sometimes 12 hours in one place watching equipment for the movie studio. I was in a place called Ferndale Park in Griffith Park, a nice park, and they were shooting a show there. And it was daytime, and the butterfly had his tree right there, and he would come snooping around and then go back to his little area. And then this other butterfly, exactly like him, would come in the area, and he would chase it off. I guess it was another male butterfly. I don't know how they work, but anyway, I was observing this over the hours, and I started to call him Tiger. I don't know why, but I stuck out my finger when he came around me. And I said, Tiger, I want you to land on my finger. And sure enough, he didn't land on my finger, but he landed on the top of my palm. And I stood there and I petted him and told him how beautiful a butterfly and how brave he was to come and land on my hand. And from there, he jumped up on top of my head, right there where you might see the halo is. Whatever you want to call that. I don't know what they call that, but he fluttered right there, and then he took off. So the next day, I said, well, when I'm at work, I'm going to tell Tiger, you got to land on my finger, Tiger. And so I waited for him, and finally came around, and I told him, Tiger, why don't you land on my finger? And he did land on my finger, and I did pet him, and I talked to him. He stood there about maybe 40 seconds, a minute, and then he took off, and I realized how connected the butterfly was. He understood English. He understood me totally, and there was no fear there, and that's just so awesome. So if that could happen with a butterfly, which I don't know what the lifespan of a butterfly is, but oftentimes I think of Tiger. But that's a true story. And so I think we are capable of doing so much. Just it's all in how much you believe you could do it. It's totally on you.
I agree with that.
If you think it's silly, then it's silly for you. But whatever you think, it becomes. So you have to believe in what you're doing. And have an open mind.
Yeah, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. You have to have an open mind. You have to take everything into consideration and not be so one-dimensional or two-dimensional in your thinking. You have to look far outside of what, this reality, this illusion that's been created here by everyone and everything. And if you can look outside those boundaries, you will see a whole different universe. I agree.
Exactly. Look outside the box. There's a lot. I always say this to my friends. I said there's all roads lead to Rome. and
it's a true statement. It's a true statement. It's an old statement, and it's true.
Yeah. And as you think about it, the sun has a lot of roads, which is the sun rays, and they all lead to the sun. And so it's a lot of meaning to that, you know. Whichever way you're going, eventually you're going to get there. Might take a long time, though.
Agreed. And it might not be this lifetime. It may be for 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 lifetimes, but eventually you will get there, because I think there is a progression through every life you live. There is that transition, that change, and which adds to your growth as a soul conscious spirit being to perpetuate it forward and eventually get back to source, core, God, call it whatever you will. We are a fragmentation of, well, we are all a fragmentation of ourselves to the source. Here's a thought.
Something greater than ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a thought. What if core, source, God simply exploded? Okay? It did it because it needed to do it, to teach itself. So it deconstructed itself into the smallest particle in existence, and we are part of those particles, all working back to reunite with ourselves. Interesting concept, isn't it?
It is. And there's a saying, God of my understanding, you know, so all of us have concepts of God. And it's fine, you know. But everybody wants to put God, not everybody, but a lot of people want to put God in a box and say God does this. And God, I think God does whatever God thinks is right and whatever he wants to do. That's God. And, you know, because God is the creator. And I can't say what God's going to do, you know. I just can't.
Well, I would say this, Robert. I would look at it this way. If I plan to get up and, I don't know, walk outside, well, that's what God just decided to do.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's just, I think we are all part of the same and separated from ourselves for a certain reason, yet we're not separated. There's that part in duality that I talk about a lot, which has to be part of the coexistence in order for ourselves, however you want to look at it, to gain a greater knowledge of understanding for ourselves. There's so much to that subject in and of itself. But Robert, we kind of sidetracked a little bit here. Tell me about some of your more incredible experiences with the crafts.
Okay. Well, my more incredible ones. Okay. I don't want to spook anybody, but one time my girlfriend wanted me to show her son-in-law and his family, and they lived in East LA, and so I went through the process of doing what I did, and a lot of times when I do this, I'll get an eagle of a hawk or a falcon, and this one stood still in the sky, and I said, "Oh, they're coming." So after that, then I got a green orb craft, and it stood there, and so there was maybe 10 people outside, and I looked up, and I was so privileged to see this. There was a craft, I see it almost out of the atmosphere, and it was exactly like a B-2 bomber, but I estimate it was about 5 times as big as our largest aircraft carriers to be that high, and it wasn't making any noise, and it was daytime. And the people that I showed, they were from, I believe they're from El Salvador, and they got really spooked at that, and I can imagine why. That was the first time I've seen such a big craft. I wish I could have got a photo or a video of it. But I was privileged to see it, and it really is astonishing to see something so big. So So that was one of them experiences that I've had that was astonishing. One day, I used to be a bus driver for MT, and I was leaving the division, and it was like evening time, and I worked out there in Sunland, which is next to San Fernando, San Fernando Valley. And there's a lot of rock quarries there, so there's not too much, there's not a lot of houses, so to speak. And there's these long entrances to the freeway, and these long entrances, maybe about a half mile, maybe. Anyway, there's some big power lines, and as I was approaching to get on the freeway, it was like evening. It wasn't completely dark yet. I seen something next to the power line, and I thought, wow, that's kind of weird. It looks like a helicopter, but it's not. And so I pulled up and stopped next to it, and actually it was a orb type of craft, about the size of a garage, a small house. And underneath it, it had small orbs, about 7 of them, which were green, like about, I'd say about 3 times bigger than a beach ball, maybe 4 times bigger. And they weren't touching each other. They were just swaying like a dragon's tail in a way. But it seemed like they were drawing energies from the big power lines. And this craft, I had a metal slide that opened up, and it had a window. It was like a window, but without no screen. And a light was coming out of it like a house. And I was just looking out of my car at it. And I said, wow, I'm waiting for somebody to come out of the window and say, hi, Robert. But they didn't. And so I figured they were watching me on some type of technology. Anyway, so as I watched it, and I could look at it just like I look at anything else. I mean, it's right there, and there's no strings. And it's just still. And one thing I can tell you, they don't make noise at all. No kind of noise. And I think I got a telepathic message. It told me to get out of the car and walk through the field. And at that moment, the thought that came across my head was, boy, I don't want to get stuck on another planet. I mean, whatever silly reason that thought came across my head. And I'm really hungry and I want to go home and eat. But I thought, wow, what if they take me to another planet? I can never get home again.
Yeah, but that would have been a lot of fun.
It sure would have, like, would have been historical for me to take that ride. But I didn't. I told them, I promise you, if you ever ask me again, I will go. And you might sort of say that I choked a little. The fear did come in a little bit, maybe a lot, and that's what happened. It was right there, and I left. I didn't have no, and the weird part is I did have a phone, and I didn't take the picture because my mind was just so, you might say I was just too astounded by what happened. I couldn't think straight, looking at this. Being privileged to see this right there next to me. And that's one of my great experiences.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, these experiences are happening more and more and more. And how many? I mean, I know that you're taking groups of people with you so they can have the same experience, correct?
Right.
When's the next group that you're putting together to to have these crafts appear?
I'm going to do a event with William Roehling, Alma's husband, and it will be in San Diego. I believe you can look it up on, if Alma comes on, she will tell you the website. It's Legions of Light for San Diego.
Yeah, well, she's going to be on.
I'll be doing that on February 9th, I believe.
Right. She is going to be in the next hour, and I want also, of course, I want to thank you for coming on because we didn't get a whole bunch to talk, about your experiences. And I'm sorry, I jump in with a lot of questions here, Robert.
All right.
But
Okay.
I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think people are waking up to the understanding and idea that we have never been alone. The reality is that a person like yourself is able to to will them to come, as so groups of people can have that same experience and understand that this is not an evil thing, that this is actually a very benevolent situation, and they're only here to help. And I think when people understand this on a larger scale, I think we can go through a real transition from seeing lights in the sky to having them on the ground, and us shaking hands with them and saying hello for the first time in the physical sense.
Exactly. And I'd like to let you know that they are going to help us with our DNA to overcome the viruses that are out there that are being created by some governments and to attack us. We are going to be remodified, so to speak, to ward off all diseases and live a lot longer, and to clean up the planet because we have made a mess of things.
Well, the planet's a real mess. I mean, what's going on with Fukushima. It is getting worse by the minute. I mean, you're out in California, Robert, and a lot of readings have been taken right there at the beach with, just extraordinary levels of radiation, and people are completely unaware of it. So you're right. And that's just one issue. That's just one issue.
And then you got a British Petroleum, which did the Gulf thing before that, and it just continues one after another. I mean, how much can the planet take? So if they are going to step in and put a stop to this nonsense because but they're giving us the opportunity to get together, and people around the world are waking up because in different governments around the world, you see them protesting and changing their leadership because now they're getting the voice. They want to be in control of their destiny.
You're right.
What we've got.
You're right. Robert, we do have a caller who just popped in. I think he wants to ask you a question. Caller, welcome to the show. What's your name, and what do you want to ask Robert?
My name's Jeffrey.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi. And I can ask a question as it pertains to the topic of ETs.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask Robert, how would he respond to all the reports that lend themselves to the direction that the ET presence here is extremely malevolent and extremely serious, considering that a lot of the people who've had these experiences end up with post-traumatic stress disorder, which can be measured through brain scans. They also have symptoms of rape. And a lot of people who've had contact with ETs also are experiencing co-current microwave attacks, which are resulting in suicides and, in some cases, violence against other people. So I'm just wondering how would you reconcile that with your personal opinions about the topic?
Well, I believe that certain elements within our governments, they allocate a lot of resources for disinformation, and they really put a lot of resources out there, and they got the capability of doing that. So don't be surprised if it's them that's doing that. So, I mean, they do got ET technology, and they do a lot of experiments, and so you can't blame the terrestrials that are out there.
Well, I would also like to answer this.
Take a look at what's happening around the Earth. Well, that's us doing that, and so then, it's...
Yeah, right, but how could you... Right, but how could you come to the conclusion? How would you know for sure that the government themselves has access to these technologies? Like, is it even verifiable?
Wait. It's all up to the individual. I cannot tell you. You have to discern for yourself, because that's discernment. And if you feel it's evil, then stick with that. If you feel it's good, stick with that. But it's up to you. It's not up to me to tell you.
Right.
Well, let me, if I may, just for a second, because this is a very, large subject, first of all. But for the most part, look, I've had my contact experience. It's always been very benevolent. I have not been traumatized in any way. Of course, my situation has been very unique in the sense that, I get to talk to them through Alma, which will be on next hour, and they promote nothing but benevolence upon our society. Now, I will say this, that yes, there are the malevolent beings. There's many species of greys, and everybody wants to tend to categorize them into one group, and that's just not so. You've got a lot of outside forces coming here and wreaking havoc on the planet for their own experimentation, for their own purposes.
I understand that. Yeah, I understand that, but is any of that even verifiable?
Well,
if you take this to, what I'm saying is, if you take this to the logical and conclusion, you could simply say that it could be one race masquerading as a bunch of races. I mean, nobody knows.
You're right to that extent. I will. If I can go from my
nobody knows, and what I'm getting at, all we do know is that people are suffering. A lot of people are potentially being even killed by these beings.
But what about the ones that aren't?
And we also know that these same attacks occurred in ancient history.
Let me ask you something.
I understand. Yeah, the Gnostics talked about this over and over and over again.
There's a duality in all of this, and that's all I'm trying to get to.
Jeff, do you have proof that people are being killed by these beings? Do you have any proof?
Oh, there's no.
You already said there's proof.
I do. I actually. No. That's incorrect. You're totally incorrect. If I wanted to, I could call up people who I could bring them on. Yeah, I'll bring them on the show. I know of people who are being microwaved with the concurrent ET experiences, and a lot of these people.
Wait. I'm going to tell you that you're the military people who say that
you're trying to ask microwaves. You're asking to try proof for proof. How about just the government agency, because they have this technology, who are attacking people, and it has nothing to do with ETs? That's a very, very real, not possibility, fact, because they do have this technology. So,
they do have this technology, but my what I strongly believe is that they have rudimentary forms of these technologies, because what these technologies can do would absolutely, like, if the government had these technologies, they would be, ultimate rule. They would know everything about everybody. It wouldn't have to be concerned about anyone carrying secrets. They could basically, they would be omnipotent, because a lot of these technologies involve data extraction. So the government has shown on time and time again that there's an incompetence there that lends itself to the
the government is completely but the government is incompetent.
So I'm saying there's an incompetence here, and they have nothing to gain by this being spoken about, or any leaks of the matter. And there's tons of
but they do have a lot to gain. You said they have nothing to gain, but you're totally wrong when you say that, because they do have a lot to gain. Because why? Because the benevolent beings are coming down to rule the planet, and they are in charge, are not going to rule the planet within the world order that they seek, but it's going to be Jesus Christ who comes down and sets up his kingdom here on earth, which we pray for every time we say the Lord's Prayer. And he's coming down.
Yeah, I know that, but what you're saying, but they do have
I see what you're saying. Well, hold on, guys.
Yeah, but what you're saying though is you're saying that they're
caller, please.
Yeah.
Just one at a time. We only have a minute left.
Yeah, no,
let Robert finish.
Yeah, sure. I was just saying. Okay.
Well, they do have a lot to gain, because they want to stall
Everybody to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I'm your host, Robert Peppino, and this is the second hour of the broadcast. First of all, I want to thank Robert Bingham for filling in for the first hour for Alma, because this is a very special program, and she needed extra time to get ready for this evening. And, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here and participating and supporting this network. I thank you and I bless you, especially for supporting my show and all the other shows on the network. So please, if you can, contribute to freedomslips.com by simply going to the support page and donating if you can, 5, 10, 15, whatever. If you have a little extra, we much appreciate it. I certainly would appreciate it. Would keep my show on the air and help keep the rest of the guests, hosts on the air to continue to bring you this incredible information. Now, it is the second hour, and I do have Alma Roehling, who is getting ready to go into her full trans-channel state to connect with our brothers and sisters who are benevolent, by the way. Just to the last caller, you know what, guy? You need to look at both sides of things. And this universe is full of diversity, and this is the same thing here. So I recommend you do a little research on that, not to belittle you, not to berate you in any way, but there's both sides of the coin. William, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing just fine, Robert. How are you?
I am doing terrific, and I'm glad you're here. How's Alma?
She's having a little difficulties tonight, but she'll come around.
Now, William, I just wanted to let you know that Steve Travesty is a big, big fan of Alma. He is a host on this network, and he's been trying for months to get a question in, if he can, if possible, to our brothers and sisters. And I said, well, Steve, you're more than welcome to sit in with us and listen in. If the opportunity arises, I will let you ask that question. Would that be okay with you and Alma?
They let you know if there's time, and they will certainly give you that option once they finish saying what they need to say.
Exactly. So, Steve, you okay with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's roll with it. Let their message, take all priority.
As always. So, listen, ladies and gentlemen, she is getting prepared, and this does always take a few minutes because, this is a very authentic and real thing. I know there's a lot of new listeners every day. Most of you are probably not prepared to, hear this kind of information. I kind of felt the same way at first. I've said it over and over as I was like, yeah, channel, right. And let me tell you, it was the most incredible experience I ever had because not only did I see the craft and from my own aura, they told me that the incredible smell that I was smelling actually came from me, from my aura. I've had missing time, and contrary to popular belief, it's been an incredible experience. And the only thing I can say is that until you experience it, until you go through it, you don't know what it's like. And that's really true. You have to experience it. I'm still waiting for answers, and and hopefully I will get them sometime here near in the future, or it might take a lot longer. Doesn't matter. I'm okay with it. I had a difficult time at first, as William will attest to that. They called me, what they call me, William? A rebel.
A rebel. Well, we'll have, hopefully there'll be more people having opportunities to see them on the 25th of this month, the 26th, excuse me, which will be in Los Angeles with Robert Bingham. This is a Sunday, and we'll be having a sky watch over there, and we'll let you know exactly what park or area we're going to be at. I believe it's going to be at the Park Plaza Hotel, though, the park across the way from the hotel. And we're all going to get together there on the 26th, Sunday. And also, he is going to be our guest speaker for the San Diego UFO Society for February, on February 9th. And he is going to do a lecture, a PowerPoint lecture, and talk to us in detail with lots of amazing things, and show a lot of the films and pictures of crafts that he's taken that no one has ever seen. So we're really, really looking forward to this. These are things that no one has seen on the Internet or anything. He's kept it private. And we're looking forward to hearing all that he has to say privately, and all the like I said, the photographs he's taken throughout the years that are quite amazing, absolutely mind-blowing. I've seen a few on the side, and I'll tell you, you guys are gonna you're gonna miss out if you don't
William,
show up.
First of all, give out the website. So for anybody listening who lives in the San Diego area and wants to attend, I think they should, especially for this.
Yeah, it's going to be on Sunday, February the 9th, and they can go to San Diego UFO Society, Stargate 2012, and .com. And either way, if you do a Stargate2012.com or the San Diego UFO Society, it'll all come up. And it's a meetup site, and all the information will be there. And we've already set out the advertisement on the meetup site. And I'll also be posting it on my Legions of Light UFO Skywatch site on Sunday.
Yeah,
so we'll have it in many places.
Let me throw this out there as well, William. You guys, for those of you trying to call in, I'm sorry, I can't take your calls. When Alma goes into a full channel state, okay, when she goes into a full channel, it's them speaking, and I rarely ever get to ask a question. So I know you guys have a lot of questions, but they have specific information to give us, so I apologize for that. But you're all more than welcome to join in the roundtable conversation, discussion after the show, and talk about what was said through, Alma's channels, which are our brothers and sisters up there. So I apologize.
We will have another show. We will have another show coming up for questions and answers also. So they will be able to do that. And there might be, if they offer, there might be tonight, but I can't promise anything because they have lots to say.
Right.
They do like to answer questions. They truly do.
I know they do. They absolutely do. So please, gang, please bear with me. I'm sorry. If they say, yes, we'll take calls, that's fine. Then you guys can call in, and we'll go for it. But if not, then we'll have to wait for Q&A. Okay, is she ready?
She's ready. Yep, go on.
Okay, here we go. So welcome to the program. I welcome you, and please state who you are.
Brother.
Hello.
I am a brother. I am from the star system, Cyrus. I am what you would call here on earth an interpreter for various races in the Council of the Syrians. Now we say this in respect to you and to your listeners. There are various councils throughout this solar system and outside of this solar system. We come as guardians. We have been in all biblical scriptures regarded as angels that walk on earth. But we are guardians. Guardians from various solar systems. And this solar system, we are part of you as you are part of you and us. We are what you call hybrids, as you are hybrids. We are connected within our own DNA. And as your caller asked a question, we would like to address that question in regard to humans being abducted or having experiences of a negative nature and of fear or experimentation or illness or mental illnesses that may result from these abductions or sightings or close encounters. We say malevolence and benevolence exist throughout the universe and on earth. And we will say this, not only do they walk among you, various races, do various races also contact and work with many of your world governments. And as you all have different races of people, you have your Oriental race, you have your indigenous races of the brown skins, you have the African nations of dark skins, you have the white race. Now, you have the brown races. Now, within all these races, can you say that one race is more evil than another or more warring than another? You cannot, because of each race and of each culture here on earth. If we give you the example of the brown race of your Mexican states, where we have many of our bases, some of which are near this volcano of Popo, and we protect this. Now, if you speak about this brown race, can you say that all these brown races and cultures are evil? Or can you say that it is free will, that within these cultures there are those who choose to do wrong unto another human being, as it is in the universe? For example, the Orion race may be benevolent and malevolent. It is free will that separates all these races and their own agendas. Now, within all governments of your world, can you say they are all malevolent or benevolent? It is also a choice. Some are benevolent and our races work with them. Some are malevolent and there's other races that work with them. On earth, in human bodies, walking among you, there are various races. Some are benevolent, some are malevolent. As the fear has spread throughout your world, that all that is of contact with humanity and certain government races on this planet, they are working against the human race, working against the planet, for they have their own agenda of eventually conquering and taking over. Now we will say this. In all history, there has been conquering races on your planet Earth. And within all the universe is free will, and there's also conquering races. And there are as well benevolent races of the angelic realms. And they are not so of the angelic realms that are with wings as much as being portrayed within your scriptures. Angelic is within their spiritual evolution and of service unto the race. In this life, it is you, the human species, that we are guarding as always, because you are an accumulation of so many past lives and origins from various solar systems. You are united and connected with many races. But you can never say that all the tall Nordics or all the tall Greys whites, you call them, or the praying mantis, or the draconians. There are so many species and races on this planet. You call Mexicans, you call Americans, you call Japanese, you call Orientals. You have a beautiful mixture of races. So too is in the universe. And not all small grays are malevolent, and not all tall whites or Nordics or tall white, which you call grays. They are not grays. They are a different race, a different species. They are tall with light skin, and most are benevolent, but there are some that have turned against their own destiny, their own leaderships, and they have turned towards benevolence. Now, within the Nordics, it's the same. Some are being taken by these races of these, what you would call on Earth, the small grays. The small grays, there are many types, and there are many reasons for why they are here on Earth, and they also have been seen abducting humans. They are being also guided by other races that use them for purposes of scientific means, or to save their own race as well, to bring about another hybrid species, to take this planet, or to save this planet. There are various reasons that they are used by other superior alien races. Now, let's not say alien races. Let's say that they are truly cosmic brothers and sisters, regardless of their origin, regardless of what they may look like. For you only can identify with the human body, with that which you are used to seeing. But within the universe, the sentient beings are similar in this characteristic of 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head, eyes, nose, mouth, but all are in different proportions, and all, depending on their origin, have to maintain their own life so they may sustain what is this that you call on Earth breathable air. If you here on Earth breathe this air, then you have lungs. In other planets, there is very little air, so the lungs would be smaller. On this planet, you may consume and digest foods. On other planets, you do not need to consume solids, but only liquids. So your mouth and all your internal organs would be different from you. The eyes would also be different from here on Earth. For there are worlds where there is great light, and there are worlds where there is no light. You have a beautiful planet that is balanced in light and in darkness, with a variety of life, animal, plant life, and humans who are so precious. You have developed into a beautiful mixed race. You are truly now, truly brothers and sisters, regardless of your race, your culture, your language, and color of skin. Now we say unto you, evil is created. You create and draw the own evil. In the universe, evil is created. It is also created by those races because of their free will, their choice to continue, to being empires, to be warring nations, as this earth is a warring nation. But you must then come to terms do you wish to repeat your past experiences and your past wars? Now, this is only a lesson. Each war is a lesson for humanity, for you to learn by your mistakes and repeat not. Have not your world leaders on earth learned by their past, by World War I, World War II, to prevent a World War III? It is within their capabilities united throughout the world and for humanity collectively as well. Can you not then manifest your own benevolent reality of a better world, of a peaceful world, of a unity and of brotherhood? You all have this power to do so, and you are at the end of the spiral. The end of the spiral that will enter into another, which will be a new era of a new life. This new life is of a new perfected human being, a circle within the circle. For you will then become galactic citizens. There is much to say, but understand that not all is evil in the universe or demons. As on earth, so is in heaven and in the universe. You on earth, there are many races that commit crimes more hideous than even the demons. But it is not truly you, the human body, creating and murdering another human. It is the spirit within you that was being taken over by the malevolent soul of another race. And they live through you these experiences, and you do evil, and you do wrong, and you do monstrous things unto another life form. So then you judge the universal races to be demons, to be evil, and to bring about harm and enslave you and eat you. We say, this is erroneous to think this. If this exists on earth, if you as humans have that capability of doing evil unto another, then you must understand there are other races that have the same capability as you here on earth. It's your free will. But understand that your spirit, your original spirit, is truly one of light. And when you are being taken over by a malevolent spirit or by a malevolent race, and that malevolent spirit makes you become a murderer or makes you hurt another, it is not your spirit, it is someone else's. So this would be possession. Possession, and this exists in many of your cultures and in many of your holy scriptures of humans being possessed. But they call this possession of demons and of evil spirits. But we say to you, it is also possession from other races, other cosmic races. But know and understand, there is more benevolence in the universe, much more so than you can imagine. And we have always been on guard, protecting the planet and the human race. We are legions of light, and these legions of light have always been, have always existed, and we come from various sectors of this universe to continue to monitor the world and all your events. As we are monitoring you at the present state, this world finds itself in so unbalanced, and many outbursts of energies and internal revolution and internal weather that is causing such upheaval, for you're not used to extreme changes in your weather. Whether it is hot, it will be hotter. Whether it is cold, it will be colder. As others have come forth and said to the human race, prepare yourselves for these times that you are not used to, these severe weather changes. Prepare yourselves with the proper clothing. Prepare yourselves with food substances. When certain events of purification and other events that will be man-made and of other events that will be brought about as diseases unfold throughout the world because of the imbalance in your weather. There's disease that will take over many sectors of this planet, and there will be great suffering. But it is the races that are more evolved, the powerful nations, that must then look down upon their sisters and their brothers who need this assistance throughout the world. And by doing so, the powerful nations will assist those nations who suffer. Now, we say this, be of service unto others. And at this moment in time, all that you do is being put. It is being put into what is called the Akashic records. So know that all your deeds, the benevolent deeds, are being put in this Akashic record. For this is what will count towards the end of this cycle, is what you do in benevolence, is what you do in service unto others, is what the nations of the world with powerful leaders do to unite for world peace, to unite, to maintain their weapons controlled and disarmed, to unite between all cultures and see each other as true brothers and sisters, to unite with your technological advances, to clean up your planet, your air, your land, your water. For we are assisting in this, in clearing much of your pollution in your air and your water and the earth and your food substances that you take in and digest. We have been doing this since the creation of your industrial revolution, and now we're moving forward into a technical revolution that is so far advanced that most humans yet do not even comprehend those instruments that they are using at the present moment. And you bring on new technologies that yet they do not understand, but they purchase. Now, understand that all this new technology that is being brought upon your planet is beneficial to a certain extent, but is detrimental to the mental growth of many souls. Many souls, it will not be beneficial, for it will take away from enjoying life. It will take away from being with the parents and the parents being with the children. It will take and separate one culture from another because of your technological advances. It will take away the power of your own minds to think for yourselves, for you will be too engrossed within your instruments, whether they be of learning, whether they be of communications, whether it be of games. You are all in a form being brainwashed with these technologies, being kept so busy that you cannot see, you cannot listen beyond what is in front of you that is technological that you use daily. You need to look outside of this technological advances. Use them only for periods of time when they are absolutely necessary. Place your mind at peace and balance and know what is occurring on your planet. Be of service unto others in need, and collectively as a human race, you will change many of the laws of this nation that are not balanced. For humanity now cries out for balance and for justice. As the world now cries out for balance, for justice, and they cry out for benevolent governments to take heed and know what the needs of the populace are and provide for those needs, and to share the technologies and advances that the world makes for the betterment of the human race and for your spiritual and technological evolution. You cannot evolve technologically if you cannot evolve spiritually. It must come together. Science and religion, let's not say religion of your world, let's say spiritual, universal truths. When these spiritual, universal truths come together with your scientific truths, they will come and join together as one. They will coexist together, and that will be the progress, the future of this nation. And that will also be the new era that will commence with humanity being evolved into the next state in their evolution beyond the fourth frequency, vibrational matrix that you have created, but away from the illusions that you needed to manifest on earth, to pass these lessons that you so chose to pass in order to evolve. Those that do not finish the lessons that they're here to learn will have the opportunity to go to another dimension and finish off those lessons until they too evolved. This is complex for you to understand, but spiritual evolution and scientific and technology all must come together as a unity for the planet and the human race to evolve into the next cycle in their spiritual cosmic evolution before you can enter the new cycle of the wheel within the wheels. Now, as many on this planet are listening to what is given unto them on your viewing boxes, on your audio boxes, and through the waves of the internet where you receive most of your news, we say to you, all of these organizations are being watched closely and listened to. But you must understand that if you wish to become enlightened, you must also research from other sources, through the waves, through your internet, through the audio waves as these transmissions are being given through your radios. And some comes through your video boxes, but they're more controlled. Now, in other nations, they give more of what is reality, for they are more open to enlightenment. Now, you must understand it is your choice. You must educate yourself, but know that we exist. Know that there are many races that have come and gone throughout the centuries to this planet Earth, assisting many of your indigenous cultures from the beginning of time. And many stayed on Earth. Many stayed, and many walk among you, and others have their own bases, underground or cities. Now, others come from other planetary sources, and others come from aboard these legions of light crafts that run our planet. There are various reasons why they are here. Some are monitoring all the pollution and the waste. But we say to you, fear not. We are assisting you so that you may move forward into the next transition. And much will occur in this year of 2014, greater changes than year past 2013. And as the internal revolutions and external revolutions you will see in your weather patterns, prepare for them and prepare for any event. For all will be a collective energy, and others coming from the core of the, and others coming from your own technologies and experimentations that also have to do with certain patterns of your weather being controlled for certain purposes. All of these now are coming together, and it is static energy that is causing the upheaval and the changes and severe weather changes. But the mentalities of humanity are becoming more enlightened, and they are awakening, and they're causing these internal revolutions, for they want equality and they want peace. Now we say to you, you will be facing now extremes in this dryness of your weather, as was stated before by other guides. Now, you will then be able or asked to conserve some of your water. So keep some of that which is your drinking water and food supplies always on hand for any such event, and for any illnesses that may be airborne caused by the severe weather changes that in some parts of the world, the lesser and the third world countries, within their own poverty, they live, and these bacteria and microbes develop. And because the earth and the things you ingest from the sea are contaminated, they are weakened within their immune system, and new diseases will come about as well. So you prepare yourselves, your immune system, to be strong. You need to be strong, for you will be the new race, and your offspring will be the new citizens. Now, we wish you to become galactic citizens, and we will assist, continue to assist this planet in their evolution. But we say to the listeners, fear not. Fear not going out and looking in the heavens to see our presence, day or night, for your unconditional love. And if you welcome us, and if you bring in a pure heart, the heart of a child, your heart must be as that of a child. Your mind must be like that of a child, loving, unconditioning, and welcoming your benevolent cosmic brotherhood. They will make themselves visible. But if you are of a malevolent nature, that you have already committed evil deeds, then know you too will have sightings. But you will attract those sightings that are within your own energy that you tune into. So know that you will attract what your spiritual essence is. Is that one point that we wish to clear, Mr. Robert Peppino?
Well, that was very well put. That was it was very explicit in every range of the of the question of the thought process. There is someone here who would like to ask a question, if I may allow him to do so.
Yes.
Okay, Steve, you're up, buddy.
Thank you. I got a simple one, but it may have a complex answer. I know in my dream time that I am doing things with some of you. I don't know if it's from your people specifically, but from one of the many in the star family. I just know it in my heart from my dream time and just from what I can discern. And I wanted to know if there's anything that could be said to me now about that knowing.
Do you dream of other star systems?
I don't believe I've dreamed of other star systems.
Do you dream yourself aboard craft?
I may have.
Do you connect with loved ones that have passed on from this dimension?
No, not yet.
Do you dream of symbols? Symbols such as stars, pyramids, circles. Do you dream of any such symbols?
I don't know. It may have been something that escaped my mind. Sometimes you dream and you forget.
Do you have visual manifestation of some of our brothers?
Yes.
Do they materialize for you inside your home or outdoors?
Never when I am awake. It's only in dreams.
You see your brotherhood in your dreams of various races?
Yes.
Do you see the ones that are tall and white? They have a slender body. They are tall with dark eyes and long necks, and also wear white robes.
Not that race specifically.
Do you connect with the small gray, the ones they call the beehive mentalities?
No.
Do you connect to the angelic realm?
I believe I do.
Is your feeling of unconditional love?
Yes.
Do you wake up feeling refreshed and alive with love in your heart?
As long as I've gotten at least 5 hours of sleep, yes, usually.
So your experiences, you would term them benevolent.
Most of the time. There are these times where it's a little different, and I've had interesting answers when I've asked others about them. But
You are open, my brother. You are open to various races, like an open channel. An open channel opens many doors. And through these various doors may come various races, some benevolent and some malevolent. What you need is your own personal spiritual guide or guardian that intercedes for you. So all that comes through to you in your dream or in your waking state will be of pure benevolence. There will be no malevolence that will enter in your life from any of the cosmic brotherhoods. You need to have an intermediary, a guide, a guardian who will intercede for you, and only the highest vibrational frequencies of the cosmic brotherhoods will come through for you. No other lower forces will come through. You would be considered an open channel to various races and dimensions. Do you understand this, my brother?
I do.
But you have already passed the third frequency. The third frequency is one of stagnation, of staying with the third dimensional frequency where you are not open to higher truths, higher realities, where you are not open to other life that exists throughout the universe or here on Earth. You have gone beyond that as millions of souls still feel that they are the only ones that exist here on earth and throughout the universe. For those that believe that way, we say to them, then they do not believe in a creator. For if you believe in a creator, you cannot limit his creation only to this earth and leave an infinite universe empty of life. So you have gone beyond this third frequency, and you are entering the fourth. To go further into the fourth frequency, you need a special guide, guardian to intercede for you, and she may come to you in your own search, in your meditative state. This is your free will, but it must come from you to desire it. Once you take those steps, you will then make contact with your higher self, which connects to your primary guardian, angelic guide or cosmic guide, or even a guide from the spirit realm that loves you. This will be your intermediary. And then you will have these benevolent contacts and be not bothered by any malevolent contacts in your dreams or in your waking state. Does this answer your question?
That answered it beautifully.
Guardian, I want to thank you very much for bestowing your knowledge upon us, as always, and, enlightening us a little bit more every time each and every one of you come on here. I know it's not always you. It's a variety of different folks out there, but like you said, we are all one, and we should try and understand that and harmonize with that thought, push the malevolence away, and join you, our galactic brothers and sisters, so we can move forward. And I want to thank you for that.